from the ghoulish studios of WTLD. Welcome to a special, spooktacular edition of the Blue Suede Lounge.
Well, I'm officially scared now.
Hey, I worked on that hoo-hoo-ha-ha for a long time, baby.
I bet you did.
I was
You're
planning
really
on
good at that.
spooking you. That was my plan, Stan.
You're very good at it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's why I get paid the big money, honey.
Welcome to the Blue Suede Lounge, folks, where we hang out and talk more Elvis and other off topics if we wish to.
Yeah. And we're going to talk Elvis today, but in a different way, right? In Elvis's surroundings and hometown.
That's correct. Today it's all about Haunted Memphis and Haunted Graceland.
Oh, that's my stuff. I love that's right up my alley, I should say.
That's right. This is probably going to be a very long podcast, so it's probably going to be a 2 or 3 parter,
Yeah.
I imagine, friends. So get a beverage and get comfy and get ready.
Ooh, yeah.
So we went through and found the 10 most haunted places in Memphis.
Oh, yeah?
So if you live there, you plan on visiting soon, or you've been there before, get a pen and pad, and you can write down these places and check them out yourself.
And you planned this without me today, so I have no idea what I'm about to hear. So I'm excited about that.
Right. Well, we love haunted places. Dan and I in our personal life have spent a lot of time in haunted hotels.
Yeah.
In fact, before we get to that, Dan, why don't you tell them about our haunted Savannah?
Savannah. Oh, that was great. Well, you know, I have a certain relationship with the other world on occasions. We have been visited, and we visited places, and they've happened to pop up. Mm-hmm. And this just happened to us not so long ago in Savannah, Georgia.
That's right.
Where you and I went for a few days, and we stayed at the Marshall House, which is a known haunted hotel there in Savannah, one of the top ones.
Exactly.
So you planned this trip as you always do, but you didn't plan it with the notion of I'm going to get us a haunted room or anything like that.
I had no idea how haunted this hotel was when I booked it.
So I'm psyched because I love ghosts, and I know we're going to Savannah, and you're kind of excited too, not knowing what to expect. Mm-hmm. So we get there, and we walk in. You can feel the vibes all over the town, the streets. You can just feel it. You can feel the other folks who are there with us.
Right.
And we get into our hotel. We're very excited, and we're on the 4th floor, the top floor of the hotel. Mm-hmm. And the first night we're there, we kind of hear little noises and things, and nothing too out of the ordinary. But the next day, we're down at the hotel lobby, and we're trying to get some information on good places to eat and this and that. And I just happened to jokingly ask the young lady at the desk, where's the best place to catch a haunting in this hotel?
Right.
And she starts to tell me some things, and she goes, oh, wait a minute. You're in room 4, I think it was 424.
Yeah, something like that.
She said, you're on the most haunted floor in the most haunted room in the hotel.
Right.
I said, great, fantastic. And TL's eyes are about the size of the quarters at that point.
Yeah, I'm ready to check out.
Yeah, but I was excited about that. Mm-hmm. So not knowing anything about what supposedly haunts this room or the hotel, that night in the room we're lying in bed, and about 1 or 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't exactly remember, I hear noises in the hallway, kind of like footsteps out there.
Right.
And I could see the light at the bottom of the door. So I saw like it could have been like a little shadow or something moving around. I didn't know what it was. I just assumed it was other guests. Mm-hmm. So we left it alone. That was all we just figured it was the normal thing. The next day we start asking questions at the desk once again. And sure enough, a little girl haunts the 4th floor of the Marshall House Hotel. And she occasionally runs up and down the hallway and plays ball out there.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. So there you go. That's just one of the many stories that we will probably share, maybe on part 2 of the podcast today. Huh?
Exactly.
Personal stories.
Exactly. So that just kind of goes to show that Dan and I, we always stumble into these hauntings.
We find them, or they find us.
We do look for them a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if we know a place is haunted, we will try to go have lunch there or dinner there or spend the night there or whatever. So that kind of inspired us, folks, to create this list, which we did Google and spend some time on the internet finding out haunted places in Memphis. So we'll start with the down at 10. So this is 1 through 10. Graumeier's Piano Bar.
It sounded good to me.
Okay, this is in Memphis. I hope I'm saying this right. Graumeier's Piano Bar. And in this particular place, they say the piano plays all by itself.
Oh, cool. A talented ghoul.
Yeah, so apparently you can go in there and have yourself a drink, and possibly the piano will just start playing for you.
I wonder what it plays.
They didn't say.
Oh, okay.
They didn't say. So mark
it
that
plays the
down.
Monster Mash.
Yes, we will definitely go in and try to have a beer there.
Let's do it.
Number 9 is the National Ornamental Metal Museum.
Okay.
And that is haunted because it was a Civil War hospital.
Okay, yeah.
And they used it also as a morgue for a time period.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, so if you want to go take a tour of a metal museum, you never know, maybe somebody will reach out and touch you.
There you go.
Number 8 is the Lorraine Motel.
I've heard of that.
Now that's where MLK was assassinated
yes.
in 1968, and it is apparently haunted.
By his spirit, or?
It didn't necessarily say that.
Use your imagination, though, I guess. Huh?
Well, it probably has a lot of bad mojo, considering someone was assassinated there.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is where our podcast gets interesting, because number 7 is Graceland.
Oh boy, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
And the most common haunting that this site said was Elvis himself gazing from his bedroom window on the top floor of Graceland, that people have taken pictures of supposedly Elvis's.
I think I've seen one or two here and there over the years on the internet and stuff.
Well, yeah, I've seen it on the internet, but let me tell you the day I saw it live.
You saw it live. Okay.
So I can attest to one time believing that I saw possibly Elvis, or possibly a figure of some kind in Elvis's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it was Elvis for sure, because I just saw a figure. However, it was on the 30th anniversary of Elvis's death.
Mm-hmm.
And that particular night, Lisa and her children were in town. And at that time, I don't think she possibly had not had the twins yet, or they were babies.
Sure.
So, but her older kids were definitely in town. So the light in the upstairs bedroom was on, and it's never on.
Mm-hmm.
The house was dark except for Elvis's bedroom light on. Now, quite frankly, maybe somebody in the family turned it on. Maybe they were hanging out up there watching people. I don't really know what happened, but it was creepy. As I was standing in line to go see Elvis, I looked up and the light came on, and somebody was up there.
So you got a chill at that moment, didn't you?
I did. In fact, we all did. Everybody saw it, not just myself. Everybody saw it. So.
Well, here's my take on it. Two things. Elvis loved Graceland more than anything in the world. That was his cave. That was his sanctuary. That was his place. So if Elvis were going to hang around and come back to visit and be a part of this world at all, that's probably the place he would be, because we all go there.
Sure.
All the people he loved, his fans, well, that's where we go.
Right.
And he's in the home that he loves, so there's more than one reason why he may be there. Number 2, I saw this on a documentary a few years ago, that whenever you are such a huge, huge personality in this world, in our world,
right,
whenever you do pass on, it's very hard for you to go, because we cling on. There's like millions and millions of people that love Elvis so much that we hold them here. Same with Marilyn Monroe, JFK, and notice you do hear ghost stories about them as well, Abraham Lincoln and different legends like that.
Interesting.
And things today. So
now, so what is the whole prospect of going to the light? Do they maybe get distracted then? Like, the light's there for them to go on.
Right.
If they haven't gone, to the hot place, that is.
No. Well, I think, everybody has their own religious beliefs, their own thoughts and feelings on this. But if you talk to the psychics, these supposed people who are professionals, and I watch a few of them, they say that they have the ability to come back and visit if they want, if they choose to come back here. Yeah. And they do check in once in a while. That's why people say, I saw Grandma sitting at the end of my bed. Yeah. Or I saw my dad.
But, however, because that's not, again, this is, a religious perspective, but that's not very biblical. However, I have heard mediums say that your chances of reconnecting with your loved ones are right after they die, within 48 hours.
Yeah, 48 hours.
Once they go through the light, which would be once they go to heaven, then it's very difficult for them to reach back. Now, that to me is more biblical.
Right. Well, if you put the biblical stuff aside, and you just kind of look at it more open-mindedly. Right. There's all kind of interpretation and ideas of how this works, Well, and I have a personal Elvis story and Dad story, we'll share later, maybe in the second podcast, the special edition.
The special edition, the bonus edition.
Yeah, where they kind of fall together, and you know what I'm talking about. So.
Yeah. So while we're talking about Graceland, let's go over a couple sightings that people have claimed to have seen at Graceland. The first one was what I said, Elvis in his bedroom. Right. The second one is Elvis imprints on front couch. Now, what they mean by that is, you know how when you walk into the foyer of the house, you turn right and the main living room is right there and the big white couch. And, of course, it's roped off. People can't go in. Mm-hmm. So what if you walk in and you look over and it looks like somebody's just been sitting there? Like they just got up, or they're currently sitting there. There's an impression. Now, I had a fan tell me that one time.
Right.
I had them say, Trish, always keep an eye on that couch because somebody sits there. Mm-hmm. And now I have not personally seen that happen myself, but that is something the fans claim do happen. And also, there's a lot of stories around the eternal flame out at Elvis's gravesite. Mm-hmm. People claim that they have seen his reflection in the mirror, the glass that comes around the flame. I actually had an experience around that one late night in January. Somebody had tied a birthday balloon to the eternal flame. I don't know if it was a staffer or a fan that just was brave enough to step over the gate and walk over there and do it. But when I came up to the gravesite, there was nobody there but me and a friend. Mm-hmm. And there was a balloon tied to the eternal flame. And it was blowing and bouncing and blowing in the wind. It was a windy, cold January. And I was just ecstatic because it was personal time with nobody there for me at the grave. So I was kind of praying and I was talking to Elvis. And I happened to say, I hope that you're happy. I hope that you're happy in heaven with your mama and your brother. And when I said, I hope you're happy, that balloon stopped. It just still. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's obvious because it's outside and the wind is blowing. My hair is moving, but the balloon is not moving. And so, of course, I turned to Dawn, my friend, the only other person with me. Right. She was over at Gladys's grave marker, the big statue of Jesus. Sure. And she was having her own moment over there. And I said, Dawn Cherie. And as soon as she turned around to address me, it started moving again. Yeah, because I wanted to have somebody else validate what I had just seen.
That always helps.
But it didn't stay still for her. So. Right. Yep. All right, so that's one. And then remember when you used to go to Graceland, the jumpsuits, before they've now moved them to their own place across the street, they were in cases.
Yes,
when you would walk down the walk of gold, and you would go into that other little
room. I missed that, by the way.
So when you walk into the jumpsuit section, they're in a case, and somebody said that they looked in at a jumpsuit and they saw Elvis on the other side. You know how you can see through? Mm-hmm. They saw what they thought was Elvis looking in from the other side, like he was observing his own jumpsuits.
Uh-oh.
Now, if that had happened to me, my first thought would be at first that it was an ETA or something, right? I would be definitely having to check that out. But apparently when they tried to investigate, he wasn't there anymore.
Sure.
So now why would Elvis be hanging out in the jumpsuit checking out his suits?
Making sure they're taking care of them.
Yeah,
making sure that the cleaners are TCBing.
Right.
There you go.
Now, they have horses there now that Graceland adopts.
Yeah.
And Priscilla has the estate take care of them and whatnot. But back when the estate first opened up, I don't think there were many horses still around from Elvis's time. I think Rising Sun was still alive. And I'm not sure if Domino, the black Tennessee Walker that Priscilla had, whether or not he was still alive. But the horses were not very visible. They were only out certain times a day, and there was only a few of them. So the fans were enjoying watching horses out in the pasture.
Sure.
And they walked over to, back then when you used to have actual people that told you the story of Graceland.
Yeah.
They walked over to a tour guide and said, hey, which horse was Elvis's? And he said, none of the horses are here. They're not here right now. But when she turned and looked back, there was no horses out in the field, but they were there at first. Mm-hmm. And so apparently ghost horses hang out. So he said, no, the horses are being groomed or something, and they're not out right now. Well, she said they were out.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Exactly. There's also been many, many reports, not just from fans, but from local Memphians that have claimed to pick up a man in an army uniform looking a lot like Elvis and hitchhiking for a ride to Graceland.
Okay.
That's a true story.
All right.
So, yeah, lots and lots of stories there around Graceland.
Do you think some of these people that think they see Elvis, or some of these Elvis are people playing jokes that they...
I don't know.
Because you and I have friends that are very easily fooled in the Elvis world, where they'll think photographs are real photographs, and we know they're not, and and things like
They've
that.
Been altered. Yeah,
we know the difference, but to the casual or just the person who's not so alert like we are, because you and I personally, or people, we see everything. We don't miss much. Not much gets past you or me.
Right.
And I would know right away, oh, this is some dude trying to, I would get it. But there might be that little old lady, oh, my God, Elvis asked me for a ride.
Yeah,
they would believe it.
That could be. So listen, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. I have one more really great personal Elvis ghost story to tell you. Hang out with us. Don't leave. If you're going to leave, you better get a beverage.
Hi, Dave Kipp, music director and midday personality of WRGG in Greencastle, Pennsylvania, flagship of Blue Suede Connection. We are so proud to have Dan&TL every Sunday at 2 p.m. and replays Thursdays at 10 p.m. on WRGG 93.7 FM. It is an honor to work with my friends Dan&TL as they present the best 2 hours of Elvis on Blue Suede Connection.
Welcome back to the special haunted edition of the Blue Suede Lounge, where TL's been sharing a lot of great stuff with us today. Haunted spots in Memphis.
Yes, and we've been talking about Haunted Graceland, and we want to welcome you. If you've got a story yourself, we'd love to hear it. Right now we were talking about Graceland, and I had one more story that's kind of interesting.
A personal story.
This is a personal story.
Okay.
So I am an author, as some people know, and I did write 2 fiction books about Elvis. One's called Eternal Flame, and the second one is called Dream Angel. And when I was writing Dream Angel, I had gone back to Memphis and had gotten a room across the street at the Days Inn because I had a couple more things on the grounds that I needed to check out for details, because there's a lot of stories that are involved in the house.
Sure.
And then I also wanted to take a drive down to Tupelo because there was a story down there too. So I was just doing detail writing. And that night I'd been out all day, had been writing all day, and I was back really late at night in my hotel, and I was staying in a room on the back side of the hotel. If you look out, it kind of just faces like a bunch of woods and some homes out there, whatever. So it's on the farthest side. And I was just getting really sleepy, and I was kind of tying things up and putting the computer up and getting ready to go to bed. And I was kind of in that half sleep where you're like just starting to nod off, but you're not quite completely asleep yet.
I understand. There's a name for that, but I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's kind of like your sleep before sleep. But anyway, and I just out of nowhere in my mind's eye, with my eyes closed, I saw Elvis's face, like as if he would lean over and just stick his face down in front of me where I was sleeping. And it was a young Elvis, no dyed hair, no long sideburns, in his 20s, really young, fresh Elvis. And he had this real mischievous smile on his face.
Like a Joker look.
And all he did was go, boo, like that. And I shot out of bed. I mean, it woke me up. I shot out of there. I was like, holy crap. My heart was like pounding. And of course, there's nobody in the room.
Right.
And I'm sitting there in the bed, and I'm like, wow, that is funny but not funny,
I think it's funny.
And I mean, it's Elvis-like humor.
Yeah,
for sure.
Him and I share a very similar sense of humor.
So as I'm sitting there, I turn around, and I just the vanity area for the bathroom was behind me with the big mirror and everything. I look over there, and there's this green light flashing in the middle of the mirror. And I'm like, I look around the room. I'm like, where's that coming from? No obvious point that could be reflecting that. I get up, I go over to the window, I pull the window blinds back, nothing outside, close the blinds, nothing, it's still flashing. I go over and I inspect I'm thinking, is this a two-way mirror? Somebody's recording me on the other side, and this is but it was green, and I'm just staring at it. And now I'm getting scared because now I don't know what, this is, and I'm alone. And
He's
so
coming to get you, Papa.
I know. So I sit down on the bed, and I'm just really afraid. So I start to pray, and I'm like, if that is Elvis, I love you, but you're scaring me. Please stop whatever this is. And when I turned back around to look, it was gone.
There you go.
It had stopped, whatever it was doing. So
well, they do say that they do visit us in our dreams.
Right.
And if you were about to enter that world, that dream world, maybe he was aware that you were writing a book about him, and decided to play around a little bit.
It definitely got me, though.
Yeah.
So as we were saying, if you're just joining the show, we're doing a podcast about Haunted Memphis and Haunted Graceland. And Graceland is number 7.
They're number 7 on the list.
For the hauntings, yeah. So number 6 is the Voodoo Village.
All right.
And this is a very eerie place. And when you look up this online, just Google it, friends, Voodoo Village, Memphis. And you look at this building and the area it sits in, it's scary. The area kind of looks like a New Orleans style.
Okay.
It's like New Orleans and Memphis.
Well, that Voodoo Village title itself sounds like New
Orleans. And you can't really, I don't even know if you can actually have access to it because it's in a secluded community that has a gate and everything. And it's supposedly the heart of Memphis voodoo culture.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
It's very creepy.
I don't know if I'd want to go to that one.
I think people live there and everything.
Right. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so that's number 6. Number 5 is the Inn at Hunt Phelan, Phelan.
Okay.
It's the most haunted house in Memphis.
It's a home.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's haunted by one of his servants who possibly was buried on the property somewhere. It was also a family member that apparently buried all of the valuables during the war. Mm-hmm. It's said that this person can be seen as if trying to reveal where they buried the items.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So it's like they're trying to tell you, hey, over here's where the goodies are.
So these goodies have all been found, I guess.
I guess not.
Or maybe
nobody
not.
knows.
Never been found yet?
No, never been found. No.
Wow.
So number 4 is called the Woodruff Fountain House.
Okay.
It's had several family spirits. Several families have lived there, and it's now haunted by several family spirits. And apparently, this house has been on the Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters show in 2013. So
cool.
We'll have to look that up, see if we can see the actual show. And the haunting spirits include Molly, which is the daughter of the owner, and she's often seen just sitting on her bed on the second floor. And when she gets up, when she vanishes, she leaves her imprint on the bed.
You know what? I think I remember seeing that episode, too.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, they put toys in the room or something for the kid, maybe.
Oh, we'll have to look that up because we watch those kind of shows.
Yeah,
so
we love it.
Maybe we'll see that. Number 3 is the Orpheum Theater, which is a beautiful old theater, right? And so we have been in it several times, and I have not seen anything, but I will definitely keep my eyes out for a pretty little girl named Mary. Apparently she was run over or killed somehow outside. Oh, I remember. She was struck by a trolley in 1921 right outside the theater. Okay. So, yeah, Molly haunts the Orpheum Theater. And apparently, this is interesting. She's seen mostly whenever there's a children's film playing.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah. And she's so prominent for that theater that they always leave a seat open for her. Seat C5 is never sold. It's permanently reserved for Molly.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice they do that.
That's kind of cute, right? We'll have to pay attention to that the next time we go into that theater. Mm-hmm. So then we have I'm not going to say this right, Pontotoc Hotel. It was a 1920s bordello. Today it appears to be boarded up and abandoned, but actually there is a family that lives on the first floor. Okay. So that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it'd be kind of
So it's all boarded up to make it look like it's abandoned. I guess maybe because the people living there don't want to be bothered. Yeah. But they actually do live on the first floor. The second floor is completely empty due to the spirit activity. It's never been able to be renovated. Every time they try, the spirits get irritated.
I've heard that many times. They don't like renovations at all.
Yeah, so the second floor remains the same. Nobody lives up there.
Wow.
So the number 1 most haunted place in Memphis.
I'm ready for this.
It's Ernestine Hazel's Restaurant.
Okay.
And it also was a former Memphis brothel. Its reputation is not just the most haunted building in the state of Tennessee or in the city of Memphis, but in the entire USA.
We're going there. We are so going there for dinner next time.
Yes. It has a haunted jukebox, which picks songs on its own. And a lot of times they claim the songs that the jukebox will pick is in relation to a conversation nearby.
I'll bet you if you and I go there and eat and this jukebox is playing, I'll guarantee you Elvis will play.
So what we have to do is sit close enough to the jukebox and start talking about Elvis and see if it will play Elvis, because apparently that's what it does. Whatever you're talking about, it will either find a song in conjunction with your subject or in conjunction with if you're talking about an entertainer or something.
If it's a soul food restaurant, I'll bet you Polk Salad Annie plays a lot in there.
Here's another fun thing that you'll just love, since you just were groped at the airport. But it's gropings.
Oh yes, groping at the airport. Memories. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Gropings in the bathrooms.
Oh my.
That's another thing that happens there. They also have full-bodied apparitions, and a woman's face is often seen from the second floor.
Okay.
Isn't that bizarre?
We definitely have to go there. Mm-hmm. That's a must.
I know you want to go for sure.
You know it, baby.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Exactly. So a few more things about Graceland, because since this is an Elvis talk show, we have to talk about more Graceland hauntings. There's a couple more things that I found really interesting in my research. The first one was that, Graceland apparently for a while there still had some maids. I don't know if they still do. If they just come in daily to clean up, they got to have somebody who kind of sweeps up after the people that track stuff in from outside, at least. Sure. All of us tromping around. Anyway, they have reportedly seen some very strange things in the house. The big one is that whenever the house is quiet, they claim they can hear Elvis singing from the second floor up by his bedroom area.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So now I've often wondered if a medium ever got into Graceland, because you know that knowingly they probably would never let anybody in there to let them do a reading. But we did have a medium go in as a tour guide or as a tourist to do the tour, and this is what they found out. They said that the house, the best place in the house with the most energy and the most activity is in the jungle room.
I believe that, yeah.
So with all the music going on in that room and everything, she said, ironically, that the front living room area, where I said people think they have seen impressions of that whole area is cold.
Right.
That there's very little going on in that downstairs front foyer. She said the kitchen is all abuzz with a lot of high energy. Because
that's another place he hung out a lot.
Yes. Yeah. The gunfire house outside, high energy. The pool area, very high energy.
Right.
But the jungle room she quoted that as being like a madhouse.
That's where he lounged quite a bit, right? Was the jungle room, right?
I don't really know, because I thought he was down in the TV room a lot.
Well, I know the last sessions, the recording sessions all took place in the jungle room.
It just could have been that. I don't, or I have no idea how much actual time personally he spent in that room, but
wow.
But so that's what she said. And she said she got a lot of good energy from the plane.
Right.
When she went on the plane. So.
I wish you and I could go in there alone in Graceland, because, you and I talk sometimes, I can feel stuff a little bit here and there.
Right.
But every time we've been to Graceland, it's just so much commotion, so much energy from everybody else, so many people. You can't. I don't know how this person, of course, they're 10 times more advanced than me or any normal person would be. But I don't know how you could almost tap into that with so much excitement around you. Tommy, look, there's the so-and-so. Look, Mom, there's it's too much to hone in on things. So
right. Well, and you got headphones on now with them people speaking in your ear.
I got to share a little personal Graceland story, too, about that would flip some people out. And as a matter of fact, I did.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. The first time I ever went to Graceland, many, many years ago, this is back when there were still tour guides, no headphones or any of that, my buddy John and I decided to make the trek to Memphis and to get to Graceland. And back then, when you first walked in the doors, there's a group ahead of you. You're kind of standing there in the lobby, looking over at the piano on one side, the dinner table, while the other group is getting ahead of you. So the tour guide lady told us about the piano, and then she quietly said, does anybody have any questions? And John's nudging me, do it. I said, man, they'll kill me if I do that in here. He goes, come on, do it. Oh. So I just quietly under my breath said, in Elvis' voice, I'm not going to try to do it now, but I just said, I wish you people would get out of my house.
No, do it. I want to hear it.
I wish you people would just get the heck out of my house.
You didn't say heck.
I didn't say heck, honey. I used a different word, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I did that, and there was a little fella in front of me, a little black guy, and he stood around, and it was just so funny. The big man, this is Elvis right here. This is Elvis because he did it.
The big man did it.
But when I did it, you could hear a couple people like grasping for breath, like like when I first did it. But this little guy, he caught me because he was right in front of me. He could probably feel my breath. That's how his wife or girlfriend was beside him. She's just laughing.
That's funny.
Then he started to laugh, and of course, then the tour guide. I kind of stole her thunder.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Elvis, since you're here, do you have any questions you'd like to answer for some of the...
Did you do that?
Yeah.
You did? What'd they ask?
They were asking, like, what kind of music do you listen to today and stuff like that.
And you said...
I'm staying in complete Elvis character. You know, I like all kinds of music. Always have, always will. You like Michael Jackson? Oh, yeah, he's cool. He got a lot of good moves. You know, that kind of thing.
And you're doing this in Elvis voice.
I stayed in Elvis voice the whole time. And then to make a long story short, we left Memphis and we stopped in Tennessee, Nashville and stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
On the way back, and we're in the museum, the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum, and there's some dude and his family, 10 feet away. I told you he was everywhere. See,
that
he's
same
here.
Guy?
No, this is somebody else that must have been in that group.
Oh,
that remembered me from Memphis, saw me at the museum in Nashville.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's
so
hilarious.
It continued there. I didn't do it in Elvis there anymore. I just kind of said, "Hey, how you doing?" But, hey, that's what I'm all about, keeping the Elvis history and story alive, see?
That's funny.
He's with me wherever I go.
You got it. Thank you for joining us for some Haunted Graceland and Haunted Memphis.
Now we're looking forward to sharing some more personal, ghostly stories with you, things that have happened to us. And we have some good ones, don't we, baby?
Yeah, we do, so let her rip.